Cuphead is a well-established game known for its devilishly hard bosses, but in today's video I'm embarking on a quest to achieve the Cuphead Platinum, as well as the extra DLC known as the Delicious Last Course. The game, according to PSN profiles, ranks an 8 out of 10 difficulty, should take me 2 playthroughs and 30 hours to complete. Spoiler alert, I finished it in 10 hours. The story goes as followed. Cuphead and Mugman go exploring and find the Devil's Casino. Cuphead goes on a gambling rampage, eventually catching the eye of the devil, who makes Cuphead an offer. Cuphead accepts the terms and he loses. Now the devil owns his soul, but they beg for mercy and the devil uses them to collect his other soul contracts from the bosses that we need to fight. Jumping into the game, there's a grand total of 42 trophies, including the DLC. If you play the DLC first, you get access to Miss Chalice, which is a great character to play as, and it makes the main game easier to play. But I wanted to experience the difficulty with the regular characters Cuphead and Mugman. Inside the first run and gun level, I would get my first trophy known as Parry Persistence for performing 20 total parries. After the run and gun stage, I took on my first boss, Cuphead Grande, and by knocking him 6 feet under again, I would receive 2 trophies, one for defeating my first boss, and one for defeating a boss whilst taking no damage, indicated on the bottom left screen. Inside the mausoleum rests the legendary Miss Chalice, and by protecting her urn, we get a super art, which will come in handy for a trophy later on in the video. I progressed through the game, defeating the next 2 bosses, a giant moon and a gambling machine, finishing off Inkwell Isle 1 for a trophy. On the second island, I would receive a trophy for defeating Beppy the Clown with my Spread Shot EX, which is a special move you can use for each playing card you have at the bottom left of your screen next to your HP. On the run and gun level Funfair Fever, I pulled off an incredible feat. I parried this pink balloon 5 times in a row without scathing the ground for a trophy. When in the second mausoleum for the invincibility super, I was able to accomplish 100 successful parries for the parry performance trophy. After vanquishing Wally Warbles, I talked to this donut girl and walked a secret path. Doing so gets the Cutting Corners trophy. Next on the list of bosses to demolish is an underwhelmingly easy boss. And I know in the clip I was at 1 HP, but diamonds are made under pressure. Anyway, defeating Grim Matchstick marks the end of Inkwell Isle 2's bosses for the Fun Day at the Fair trophy. I get inside the third Inkwell Isle and book it to the final mausoleum. Getting the last super art awards me a trophy. In the last run and gun level, I was chased by a Cyclops, but with my precise jumps, I finished the level getting every run and gun coin for the trophy, coffers full. I get to the Phantom Express where you fight this train, and I was doing pretty good, but then I got sniped by this fireball I didn't see. So I used my super art, which can be used when you get a full set of cards. Anyway, I used it and the boss died, which was a trophy, defeat a boss with a super art, but it didn't work, so I was really confused. But I did get the trophy for defeating every Inkwell Isle 3 boss. I was then allowed into Inkwell Hell, where I got the last overworld coin, which are these hidden coins scattered across all 3 isles. Obtaining this last coin gets the High Roller trophy. With every coin at my disposal, I was able to buy the last upgrade from Pork Rind Shop, whom is a character that sells you weapons and charms to adjust your playstyle. But buying the Twin Heart Charm, which gives you 2 extra HP at the cost of some damage, gets the trophy Butter and Eggman. Now it's time for King Dice, who is the devil's right-hand man, but before you get to fight him, you have to defeat a total of 9 mini-bosses, and you get to choose with a roll of a dice. The first mini-boss I got was Mr. Wheezy, and he is a total pushover. He just shoots fireballs and changes ashtrays, so I defeat him very easily. Now the second mini-boss was Rat in the Hat. I defeat him easily with my Charge Shot, which is by far the best gun in the game. The last mini-boss is Ballerina Gambling Machine. She was the hardest of the bosses I faced, but still very easy, so I annihilate her health bar and claim victory. With my fully grown confidence, I was quickly humbled by King Dice because I couldn't parry some moving cards. I jumped back into the fight, and the only memorable battle this time was Pip and Dot, which is a couple I blast my liquid essence all over to finally get that buggy trophy Porcelain Power. With my epic gamer skills intact, I challenge King Dice one more time, and I'm insane juggling on those cards. Eventually, King Dice has enough, and for my efforts I get the Casino Night trophy for beating him and the Rolling Sixes trophy for defeating him without taking any damage. With the defeat of King Dice, we are allowed to enter the Devil's Lair, where he asks us to hand over the soul contracts and join his team. So for the bad ending, we accept his terms and conditions and get the Selling Out trophy. The bad ending didn't sit right with me, so I reloaded my save file and selected no this time, and we get to fight the devil to regain our once beloved souls. I managed to get under the devil's skin and we enter the underworld where I make the devil cry like a little baby. Since his tears are very toxic, I use my invincibility super to spread open his face. This gets me the Swing You Sinner trophy for defeating the devil, and I get the King of Cuphead trophy for getting an A rank or higher on the King dice and the devil's boss fight. With the devil in critical condition, we burn the remaining soul contracts and run back home to tell everybody what has happened and that they need not fear the devil anymore. Everyone's happy and they throw us a big celebration. The end credits start rolling and we get the Soul Save trophy to end off the main story. After the defeat of the devil, I went back to Inkwell Isle 1 to redo the Frog Brothers boss fight. Upon completion, I got an A rank for the trophy sheriff, meaning all bosses on Inkwell Isle 1 needed to be A rank or higher. Before I head over to the DLC, I went up against Cuphead Grande, but this time on expert mode. More on that later. I completed the fight and got an S rank, which means utter perfection, and the putting on a show trophy. To access the DLC, you gotta talk to this boat wizard man. He will then take you on a majestic journey throughout the title screen of the delicious last course, also known as the DLC. We arrive at the dock where we meet up with Miss Chalice. She hands me a cookie and steals my place in the living world. She runs off and Cuphead and I give chase. She leads us to a bakery where we meet Chef Saltbaker, who totally isn't evil or anything. Anyway, the effects of the cookie wear off and I'm restored to my former glory. Chef Saltman sends us a new recipe that we need to collect the different ingredients for to fully restore Alice. Alice has a completely different moveset to Cuphead and Mugman, like she has a parry dash, an invincibility roll, and she even has a frickin' double jump. I straight away get into an intense fight with an anteater that fakes a knockout, but my skills save me from dying. But with their defeat comes my trophies. The latest sensation, defeat a boss with the new DLC weapons, and Alive and Kicking, defeat a boss as Miss Chalice. The Ice Wizard wasn't much in terms of a fight. He did become a snowman, then a refrigerator. That was interesting. But I gave him some explosions and he was dealt with. To end off the fight in style, I used my EX attack to blow up his face. The dog military fight is the best in my opinion. The pitbull uses a cat to fire some wool balls at you, but we destroy his plane and he is sent flying. The next is the poodle who grabs onto the screen and fires lasers. When that doesn't work, she tilts the screen and the controls are reversed. She does it again, but I put her down. Bull Buckler here was a blatant fight, and if you know me, I hate these types of fights. But nonetheless, I gotta get through it. After her first phase, she tries to suck you up, but ends up sucking herself and turning into some sausages. Eventually, she turns into canned sausages, but I take her down as the last boss on Isle 4 for a trophy. When you wander the isle, a ladder will randomly fall from the sky. This is the King's Leap, which is a number of boss fights where you only use the parry dash. Each boss resembles a chess piece. I already took out the pawn and the knight, and now I'm on the bishop. Blowing out the candles gets him vulnerable, and I snipe that kill. Up next is the rook, and returning the decapitated heads to sender defeats him no problem. The last chess piece is the queen, and this fight is interesting. You parry the cannons to shoot her in the face, but she drops down some jewelry that makes it hard to do so. But we checkmate her for the trophy. With that now done, if you do the King's Gauntlet, which is every boss back to back without dying, you get the King's Admiration trophy. The final fight is against Chef Saltbaker, who would have thought? The first phase is the hardest, with so much stuff flying all over the place, but we pull through and enter phase 2. For this, we had to break the pepper shakers to smash into his face. Eventually he cracks and crumbles and all fades to white. For phase 3, he bounces around, and all I gotta do is avoid the area where he lands. Eventually, the floor crumbles and we are forced to take down his heart whilst moving up the falling glass planes. After some back and forth damage, we take him down for the compliments to the chef trophy. We find the trapped Mugman and set him free. Then Chalice swaps places and becomes a ghost. The bakery starts collapsing and we skedaddle out of there, but Saltman does too, so we forgive him and all is good, and Chalice accepts her fate of being a ghost. With the DLC done, I headed back to Isle 1 to do some farming to get a total of 10 bosses defeated as Miss Chalice. In doing so, I got the Golden Touch trophy for defeating my good friend Cuphead Grande with my super art attack. Sometime later, I got the original trophy Dedicant I was going for by defeating the Sugar Queen Baroness von Bonbon. Back over to the DLC, there's a secret boss fight that is very complex. The way you are facing is the side that hurts you. After like an hour of attempts, I beat the devil again and get the trophy A Horrible Night to Have a Curse. With the secret boss fight completed, I get the Cursed Relic, which makes it so you start each boss fight with 1 health, but when I fully upgrade it by defeating 7 to 8 regular bosses, you get the Divine Relic, which is a great charm as it does the effects of every other charm all in one. Getting this gives me the Paladin trophy. I then went to Isle 2 to complete Grim Matchstick again, only this time I needed an A rank. On this attempt I was successful getting the trophy. I then had to do the same thing but on Isle 3 this time, which was simple because I had most bosses A ranked anyway. I wrapped up finishing off the Phantom Express getting the Mayor trophy. The next trophy on my list was for completing every run and gun level without firing my weapon, and I completed half on my main journey, so I went back and completed the last 3 that I needed for the Pacifist trophy. For the trophy, the High Hat, I needed to defeat a boss without killing their minions, so I went into Bull Buckler on simple difficulty and carefully defeated her without killing the minion that takes place in the fight. With everything that I've done so far, I decided it was time for the Expert mode, where I had to defeat every boss on Expert difficulty, which makes them harder and faster, before making it to Inkwell Hell. Inside Inkwell Hell was King Dice, and he was challenging. All his mini-bosses were a lot harder than I was used to, but in a couple attempts I was victorious and now only the devil remains. The fight starts out normally, but a funny thing happened when he tried squishing me as I accidentally used my invincibility, but that was fine as I was able to do a lot of damage because of that. We get under the devil's skin one more time and we enter the underworld where we see his big red ugly face for the final time. The underworld section isn't too bad on expert mode. The only thing that's annoying is the axes as they swing around randomly, but other than that it's actually easier in my opinion. Then we get to my favorite phase, Devil May Cry. Using my invincibility super we sweep the rest of the fight no problemo. With the defeat of the devil on expert mode we get the beat the devil at his own game trophy. With all that done we move on to the final miscellaneous trophies for the platinum. For the first of the last trophies I needed to get an A rank on all bosses in the DLC, so defeating the Anteater Snail combo lends me the Ranger trophy. The Bravo Zulu P-26 trophy requires you to defeat a boss only using the mini-plane's bullets. This would be fine except the mini-plane is utterly useless. It has short range and terrible damage. But you can use King Dice's mini-bosses for this, so that's what I did and I don't feel bad about it. For the trophy Hearty, you need to have 9 hearts at one time, so for the setup equip the twin heart charm and spin around until the genie appears. He will double your HP, making it so you'll have 10 hearts. Now load up into a fight. I chose King Dice as it's my favorite, and the trophy should appear straight away. For the last trophy of the Cuphead Platinum, I needed to get an S rank on one of the bosses in the DLC. I chose the Giant as I could consistently get 4 hearts into the final phase. Anyway, I get there eventually and the Cook to Perfection trophy pops. What an excellent adventure into Childhood Lane. This game, like many I Platinum, has a special place in my heart as one of the few games I really love playing, and I will always play it when I'm feeling down. Now I can finally place this game in my Platinum section. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, I think you might like this other video I made where I Platinumed one of my favorite movie franchises turned video game, that is RoboCop Rogue City.